Did we lose it?
All right, Al. So it's Friday afternoon. We're trying to keep this thing going, trying to stay hot.
Friday before noon.
Ride off,
It's not a great start.
ride off, ride off of some momentum here. It is December 8th. We are fully in to the season. Tis the season of perpetual hope, joy, love, Santa, elf. It's all in full swing. Kevin Mcallister, looking good. Billy Ray.
Feeling good, Lewis.
Yeah. Trading Places, unbelievable Christmas, low key Christmas movie. I'll say it's a bone chilling 72 degrees here in South Florida, and it's the third week in a row that we're able to report on interest rates lower now than they were weeks prior. It seems that the knower of all things, the Federal Reserve, indicates slowing inflation. This week, a cooling jobs market was the scapegoat. Job openings, namely, hit a level that hasn't been seen since March of 2021, the lowest new jobs opening since March of 2021. So, Al, how does that translate to rates? What can you tell me without breaking some sort of sacred oath that you've taken? What can you tell us about that?
No, I can't say anything in that situation there, Ab, but I'm willing to break that oath for the people, for you all out there, and for our viewers. I feel like Ebeneezer Butt, right? In this holiday, in the holidays, we've gone through I'm a curmudgeon in the mortgage industry right now, visited by the ghost of high rates, right? And now being visited by the ghost of slightly lower rates, and hopefully the ghost of very low rates in the future. Maybe not as low as they were, but something manageable. But we're trending down, baby. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of, it's still doing its, you get a couple of, you get a little bit of that, and it comes down, and the rates are following. So as the T-bill, that 10 years coming down, the rates are following. So great news. It's, nothing, no breaking news as far as, steep drops or anything like that, but it's gradual and it's steady. And that's all we're looking for, right? Now, the jobs report came out, and it was slightly better than expected for non-farm jobs, right? Which has kind of slowed down our little trend of going down. So the T-bill came up a little bit today, but as we know, as long as the graph still stays like this, you're going to have these and these, right? But as long as the trend is down, we're good, right? So everybody just keep saying your prayers, keep your fingers crossed, keep writing your letters to Santa for lower rates, and we'll just hope that the Father Christmas delivers.
Yeah. Daddy, what's on your Christmas list this year? Interest rates in the fives.
Mm-hmm. Daddy, I got
go to bed.
What's a mortgage?
Well, son.
That's what Daddy
one
is,
day.
Right? Daddy needs a lower rate.
It's weird. When I was growing up, it was like, what do my Julian is in kindergarten. It's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's the classics, firefighter and all this. And Julian, a loan officer. I want to be a loan officer. No, nobody wants to be a loan officer.
Would you give him a Billy Madison? Don't you ever say that. Mm-hmm. Stay here for as long as you can.
Yeah. Cool. So that's what's your rate this week. Really optimistic week as far as rates we've been able to quote, rates we've been able to lock.
Yeah.
And then, more than rate, it's weird. More than interest rate, just people's attitudes toward doing something have changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the news, getting on board with, reporting some positivity, or if it's just maybe it's our perspective, but it definitely seems like more people are willing to talk, more people are wanting to hear what we got going on. So it's all good.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, I quoted somebody today or this week on an FHA loan, 640 credit score, quoted about a 6.25, costing a point. Like that's,
Dude.
And they loved it. They were ecstatic about that, right? Whereas a month or so ago, that was in the sevens, right? So, we're trending in the right direction, and we're seeing a lot more activity on our end, which is great. So fingers crossed. Let's keep it going, baby.
Let's
Ride the
keep it
wave.
going. Yeah, let's ride this wave. One more rave. All right, so let's get into our next segment. Sorry, my wallet was bothering me. Our next segment, which is FAQs. Al?
Facts and queries.
All right, so this week we'll do some documentation. So let's. All right, Al. I'm a new home buyer, prospective home buyer. I don't know. I might buy in 3 months. I might buy in a year and a half. I don't know. But I'm the type of person, I want to be prepared. Okay. So what should I start setting aside? What should I put in a manila folder somewhere and label it open when ready to buy? Like what's the documentation that I should be prepared to have?
Library card. List of the people that have wronged you in the past 25 years. Make and model of your first car and the title if you have it.
Okay. All right.
So the gift of mortgages isn't the same for everybody, right? When you open that box, it's going to be different depending on your situation. But for the most part, right, the things that you're going to need, you're going to need your W-2s, right? Your last 2 years W-2s. You're going to need your 2 most recent pay stubs, 1 full month of pay stubs. We'll put it that way, because there are folks out there that get paid weekly, so we don't want to exclude them. So in that case, you need 4 of them. If you're paid semi-monthly or bi-weekly, then you're going to need 2 of them. And then, you're going to need bank statements, your 2 most recent bank statements to show that you have the funds for the down payment and the cash that you're going to be bringing to close. So that, for most people, that's going to be the situation. Now, for self-employed borrowers, a little bit different. You're going to need your tax returns, right? 2 years tax returns. So forget about the pay stubs and the W-2s. You're going to need your last 2 years of tax returns. All schedules. Don't try to hide anything. We'll find out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, still the bank statement. And again, that's the list of things kind of to get you started, to get you heading in the right direction. Then once you have the conversation with Abrai, and we get, into the nitty gritty and get our fingers dirty as far as the, what you'll actually need for your specific situation. If it is anything different, we'll let you know. But that's a good starter for that manila folder.
That's a great starter. Well said, Al. And that's going to allow that's going to allow us to calculate income accurately and really get you started on the right foot. And then as you get really into the process, like you said, get your hands dirty. More may or may not be needed. So that's great.
One other thing too, once you're in the process, if you don't have somebody who does, because you're going to need to get if you're looking to purchase a home, you're going to need a homeowner's insurance quote, right? So you need to start thinking about that. As we talked about, homeowners insurance rates have gone up. So you're going to want to compare those and see where you're going to get your best deal, right? If it's through the same people you have your auto insurance through, or, other things to kind of think about, right?
Yeah. And that homeowner's insurance is important because it's part of your monthly payment.
Right.
It's part of the number that is going to determine whether or not you qualify. So All right, cool. So we now know what is expected and what to set aside. So if that's you, start getting that stuff together or know where to locate it, and you'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. That's facts and queries for this week. Thank you, Al. We've got. Next, we got hot takes. So I'm just going to do a really quick hot take. We don't need to elaborate on it, but hot take here. As we come into the end of the year, I think that in sales, it's not necessarily the time for us to take our foot off the pedal. It may, in fact, be the time to double down because everybody else is taking their foot off the pedal. And I think that goes the same. That could be said the same for prospective home buyers. Oh, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to take the holidays away from the home buying process. I'm not going to make an offer on a home between now and New Year's. Is that crazy? Well, that's what everybody else is saying too. So if you want to be one of one making an offer on a house, perhaps now is the time. So don't take your foot off the pedal if you're in sales like us. Don't take your foot off the pedal if you're looking to potentially buy a home. There's homes on the market. If the buyer pool shrinks, that's leverage for you, buyer. So think about it. That's my hot take, short and sweet.
Hot take, love it. So my hot take, a little bit different, kind of plays off of some of the ones previously with a Christmas twist. You know,
Christmas twist.
everybody's had the squeeze put on them, right, this year from inflation. Um, you know, bills are probably a little bit higher, as we talked about previously. We always see the credit cards and the consumer debts go up, right, because of you know, Christmas presents. You have to buy that overpriced thing for your significant other. It's going to sit in the corner all year and collect dust, and they're never going to use, right? But the point is that everybody overspends. Everybody overdoes it around the holidays. You overspend for presents. You drink an extra IPA. You have an extra slice of pie, right? Because
She putting on some pounds.
knock it off in the new year, right? It's all going to get changed when we join the gym on the 1st and completely turn our lives around. But maybe we should start have these conversations because that squeeze is a little bit worse this year, right? And nobody wants to deal with the crippling anxiety after the new year of, oh my God, I have all these bills and they're even worse than they were before. Start thinking about, I have this equity, rates are coming down. This is definitely the time to start thinking about, you know, utilizing that equity to eliminate those debts and relieve some of that anxiety so you can focus more on, you know, losing the weight, right? Being a better person, whatever, you know, taking up surfing, whatever you're going to do in the new year, right?
Whatever you're going to do in the new year and quit in February.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Naturally.
Nice hot take. So Danny just hopped in. She's in the waiting room. We're going to have her wait while we crank through Opinionated. So, Opinionated, if Danny doesn't know, and if people watching don't know, Opinionated is a segment where we talk about something that was in the headlines and we give our opinion about it. This is where we go out of our lane and perhaps ruffle some feathers. So this past week, a lot of social media, and I don't even know if it was real, but it turns out it is the New York Times Person of the Year list. If you don't know about this list, you should check it out. It's wild. It's a wild list. I'm not going to really comment on the list. I don't really want to dip my toe in.
I know it was Time.
It was Times?
Yeah.
Time Magazine. Okay.
Yeah.
Time Magazine. Time Magazine's Person of the Year list. Really weird, really wild. Check it out. It's strange. But I think more than talking about the list, I think you look into it and think about who's on that list and what that is about. But my opinion is these legacy media groups, whether it's print, whether it's movies, whether it's the radio, whatever it is, they're losing their grip on everything. It's coming, you know, the normal people have platforms now to speak to report the news. And I think independent's always been better than legacy media. So think about like independent journalism, independent music, independent movies. They're always better than the top 5 lists. Always. There's a reason that the burger off the food truck is better than the burger at Chili's. So there's no surprise that these legacy media groups are just like making wild reports.
Yeah. Now,
they're grasping.
You know, instead of steering towards their personal preferences, trying to steer, like help the American people make the best decision for themselves, right? Like if they're looking to you for advice or for, you know, what's going on in the world, they, you know, try to give them an unbiased, realistic view and not a view that aligns with whatever your political or, you know, whatever your view is. You know, there's
there's
too much bias, right? There's too much personal bias. So couldn't agree more. Fantastic, Ab. Well said.
All right, great. So we're going to bring in our guest now. You know, Danny's just a really bubbly, happy person. I've done a little content with her. We've gotten together on some stuff. When I came down to Florida, she was the first real estate agent that I linked up with. So she's great. I would go as far as to say that smiling is her favorite. And she's a lot of fun, so we're gonna bring her on.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Doing great, thank you. It's great to finally meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I hope our assistant was timely with getting the information out to you about joining the show.
Like 3 minutes ago. That's good, right?
I tell you what, and he brought me cold coffee. I'm gonna get rid of him. I'm telling you, it's just because of the holidays I haven't done it yet.
Oh,
yeah. So Al hasn't met Danny. I asked Al to do a little research, and and come up with some questions, maybe put you on the hot seat or grill you. So Al,
Okay.
what do you got for Danny
So,
here?
yeah, no, first of all, well, one of the things that we do with all of our new guests, Danny, is it's really important for us. We give everybody a big roll tide, right? Because we know that everybody's an Alabama fan.
Okay.
Alabama fans.
I'm out.
The funny thing is though, I am a diehard Alabama fan, right? And I always have been. My uncle played baseball there. I grew up an Alabama fan. So when I, was Abby sent me your profile when I was looking through, I was like, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. This is just too easy. I don't know how this is going to go.
War Eagle. War
I
Eagle.
know.
Did you go to Auburn,
Pick six and everything.
Danny?
I'm gonna have to hear about that for the rest of my life. So
My whole family went to Auburn. I did not go to Auburn, but I grew up going to all the football games, and I just took my daughter recently to one of the football games. So we're big fans.
How awesome is that atmosphere?
Well, Auburn, I can't speak for Alabama, but Auburn has some of the best fans and people in the country.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to be in a cool town.
Oh yeah, just the SEC going to a game. It is an amazing experience. So, so with that being said, roll tide, Danny.
War Eagle.
Touche. So this, so Abby, one of the things I saw in your videos, you guys have done a good amount of content together, right? And Abby always says you're so bubbly and you're so much fun, and I love that. And so this is actually a question from one of our many viewers. You're so bubbly and you're so funny. You do such a good job on camera when you and Abby do your skits and your videos together. Do you find it difficult to and I want to make sure I get this right. Do you find it difficult to constantly carry Adam's subpar performance?
Well, it is challenging.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Real thanks.
He did say you were the funny one. I see it.
No. I just speak the truth. This is from the viewers. This is not my own words. I'm telling you.
Maybe you should start popping in our videos here too.
I would love that. There's a reason Ad doesn't invite me though.
Right. I can't be. So Alex and I have known each other and been as close as you can get, best friends since the 6th grade. So I've been having to like sit back and let him hoot and holler and kind of listen to his shtick for, I don't know, 20 plus years. So we'll just we'll keep it to you and I for now, unless he comes down to Florida. When he's down here in Florida, we'll do something together.
All right. So you're up north then.
Yeah. I'm in Maryland. I'm still in Maryland. Against, Adam's definitely tried to hard sell to get me down there. And if only there was a realtor that could sell me, a condo in Hutchinson Island. I just can't find one.
I know. Well, it's too bad. There's not very many.
I'm sure. Well, at least I know who to talk to now, right?
Yeah. I've definitely sold a few condos.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads me to a question that I had for you, Danny. You do sell a lot of condos. You are on Hutchinson Island a lot. I've got to experience it a bit living here for about a year now. It's a great spot. A lot of your buyers are second home buyers or maybe even investment property buyers. So what would you say to like someone like me or Alex, someone who's from the Northeast and is thinking about snowbirding or thinking about moving to Florida? What can you say about the areas that you service and why the appeal to someone from the Northeast?
Yeah, that's great.
So the appeal, obviously, the weather here, Florida draws the weather, right? Yeah. But what's really unique about where we are, the Martin County, St. Lucie County, Hutchinson Island area, is it's somewhat of a hidden gem. So there's like a lot of people. There's a lot of people that live up north that go to Jupiter and own in like Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens, that area has exploded. Yeah. And that's, the same can be said for even further south. That area exploded, then it moved up to Palm Beach Gardens and Jupiter, and then there's our area that's north of that, and it's still somewhat of a hidden gem. That being said, it's great for someone looking for a second home because the value is still there. And this area, the only logical choice from Jupiter is up here. And so eventually this area is probably going to be the next Jupiter, whatnot, who knows how many years it is, but it's just a really cool area. There's so many like unique areas too. There's the historic and charming downtowns of Stewart. You've got Jensen Beach. You've got like local shops, and just you don't see that either further south. So we're just a very unique area. And it's not, it's not hard to get here. Basically, if you want to fly into Palm Beach, Palm Beach International Airport, you pop up here. It's not that far away, so it's just a good place overall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. It sounds like it.
Man, put you on the spot. It sounds like you may have, you know what you're talking about there.
Well, I mean, I definitely am an advocate for the area. I was born in West Palm Beach and have lived in this area since pretty much 2009. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
actually, and I was curious about your background was you're an attorney, right? So
correct.
Which is so, and then what in 2020 it was that you decided to become a realtor. So what did you always have this passion for becoming a realtor? Or?
I always had a passion for real estate. So when I was in law school, I was like I know this is nerdy, the president of the real property group. I was the teaching assistant for Florida real estate and real property.
Oh, wow.
I worked directly with the professor that did all the property classes. So I was always, I loved real estate. But when I came out of law school in 2009, the market had just crashed. And so they were not hiring real estate lawyers. So I did get to do a little bit of land use, which is essentially zoning and, those sort of things. But I didn't get to do real estate. So I came out doing business litigation, employment law, and it was okay. But it's just after a while in that working those hours and not loving what you're doing, it just, wasn't for me.
Yeah. So this has always been your passion. Real estate's always been your passion.
Yes.
And you finally got a chance to do it. That's great.
Al, it's hard not to love it. Danny and I have shot some content in some of her listings, in various condos on Hutchinson Island. It's hard not to love it when you walk out one side of the condo and you're looking at it's like you're on the ocean. It's like you're on a cruise ship, and then you go to the other side and you look at a golf course and a river. It's kind of hard to like. Yeah, it's and it. Danny, let me ask you: is that lost on you, or is it just as cool every time you see one of those awesome views?
Well, I feel like I take it for granted sometimes because I'm here every day. I see it every day, but it is. I mean, we live in a absolutely beautiful place. I mean, I'm sure it's freezing out up where you are, and we're in the high 70s today.
Some people love this weather, Danny. Okay, some people don't want beautiful weather and sunshine all the time. We want to be miserable and cold.
Quite frankly, like the other morning, I got up and ran when it was 53 degrees and I was freezing my butt off. So I'm not really sure how you guys do it.
Oh, that's
like I would never work out.
Here. Well, that's why Al has such a thick beard, because it's so cold. You should see my beard when I lived in the north when it's cold. I actually grow it's really bushy, and I got to keep it really in good check.
It's like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. It's like 3 hairs that come down.
So I was gonna say I can't see that.
Yeah. No.
No, I don't. Yeah, never.
Wears one of the snow hats that has the beard attached to it.
Perfect.
So you have a hold then on Hutchinson Island. I mean, you're the condo queen of Hutchinson Island, right?
We do. So I joined up with my partner's been working on the island for 30 years. I joined up with him working over here, and that's a majority of our market. What we do business-wise is on the island. So we have a lot. We sell a lot of condos on the island.
Danny, a lot of the condos don't allow for Airbnbs. Is that correct?
Most don't. Yeah, there's 99% would not. Correct.
So when a property, if you were looking for an Airbnb on Hutchinson Island, is it nearly impossible, or is there a market for that?
No, there's certain places that allow. So like I'm sitting at my office right now. There's a community right behind me that has villas that are on the riverside. Those are great Airbnbs. There's also, we just sold one recently in Windmill Estates, which it's a villa. It's actually on a canal under $500,000, and you can Airbnb those.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's great opportunities for Airbnb, but there's just not as many of them, and most of them are going to be on the riverside.
Gotcha.
Not the ocean.
For somebody like myself who's not as familiar with Hutchinson Island, and you're saying that, that market is getting bigger and bigger, like some of the other huge markets that you see the snowbirds coming down for, does it still have it's not, is it been overrun with tourism, or does it still have kind of a small town type of feel to it?
Our area still has a small town feel. I mean, now we call it snowbird season when, mid-January when the trucks start rolling in with people's cars from up north. So
Oh yeah, just a hat and two knuckles, right? It's all you see in the windshield.
so we do. I mean, we see an uptick in traffic. We see, it's a little busier at the restaurants, but we
Mhm.
still maintain the small town feel
Yeah.
in this area for sure.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah, and like downtown Stewart, it's only so big. You can only fit so many people.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it gets more crowded. And I'm not necessarily someone to speak on it. I've only been here for a year, but it is noticeable.
Mhm.
But back to the difference between like south of us and where we are. You mentioned value, so the value's still there around here in Palm City, or I'm sorry, Martin County, St. Lucie County. The value's still there, and there is reason to believe that if everyone's moving north, that trend will continue. Do you think that there's room for buyers to earn equity, in the next 10, 15, 20 years?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, this area, we're already seeing, like, we see an influx. Like over the summer, we have people that live in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, coming up here and purchasing a vacation home because they want to get out of the hustle and bustle. They come up and use it on the weekends. So we're already seeing that migration. I think we're going to see more and more of that.
Right.
So the values here will continue to rise.
Yeah. God, I need to move to Hutchinson Island.
You should. It's a great area.
I don't know if you're trying to sell me, but you sold me. Like an inadvertent sale. Came on an interview and I got sold.
I think the most important, the best, what my job I feel like is to educate. And if it sounds like it's good for you, I'm all in, but I most certainly don't want to ever sell anybody something they wouldn't love.
No. Just you talking about, the kind of the feel there, right? Just, it sounds wonderful. And obviously if the market is going to continue to grow, right? If the values are going to continue to go up, and it's a good investment, I mean, why wouldn't somebody want to buy there? Right. So
yeah, it's a really,
I think
go ahead.
I think real estate's always a good investment.
Yeah.
If you hold it for the long term.
Right.
You've got to really be careful where you're purchasing if you're planning to sell in a couple of years, because you just never know like how much, you're going to make. But I think if you hold it the long term, real estate, is always a good investment.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. That's why we need people to buy more houses. So reach out to us. Right, Adam?
Yeah, poor Adam, because this year it's been crazy the amount of cash buyers we've had. I think.
Oh, really?
Like over, like, I've got to pull the numbers, but I think it's like 90%. It's
God, really?
Martin County. Sorry, I'll let you go in a second. Martin County is like double the national average cash. It's crazy.
Welcome, Adam.
Yeah, not good for a loan officer.
No, not at all. So then, for somebody who wants to kind of emulate what you've done and crack a market, whether it be in Florida or anywhere else, somewhere up here, what kind of advice would you give them to, because it's not easy. Obviously, a couple years ago, there was this huge influx in, people in real estate, folks that wanted to be realtors, right? So in order for somebody to be successful and have the success that you've had, right, and have it for a sustained amount of time, what kind of advice would you give them?
Well, you have to be a go-getter, but I think the most important thing to do, especially early on in your career, is align yourself with someone that has experience and that's willing to work with you. You can't just ride their coattails, but I think it's important early in your business to align yourself with someone that's, don't just, jump in solo and think you're going to do okay. I mean, I think you really need to find someone that's done it, that's been successful over and over again, and that's willing to work with you.
Right. Love that. Couldn't agree more.
I think that's great advice. And
here I was trying to buy Ab's coattails.
Al's been in the mortgage business longer than I have. Don't let him fool you.
2 years longer.
So, all right, cool. Well, Al, do you have anything else for Danny? Danny, did you have anything that you want to talk about or mention?
Well, I mean, right now, I mean, you guys should be a little bit happy because it looks like, with all the good news out there about rates, it looks like we're going to start to see rates coming down, which is good news for everybody.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean, if only there was a show that people could go to and watch that kind of predicted this or were talking about this and the things to do to be prepared, as a buyer.
do you know anything like that? No,
Not off the
nothing.
top of my head, but I'll send you an email if I come up with anything.
No, you'll have our assistant send her an email.
Well,
I'll have our assistant Hal Butte send you an email. Um, yeah, no,
uh,
it's fantastic, and we're starting to see a little bit more activity on our end because it was, it's a little slower, and I think we needed that after the couple of years we have. I think Adam would agree that we had some great years of lower rates than we ever deserved, right? So then,
mhm.
a little bit of humble pie, get punched in the nose with reality, and now it's kind of settling back down, right? So
Yeah, that's what I hope to see, and I think we're going to see a lot more people come back in the market because I mean, these people that are buying these second homes that are cash, I mean, it didn't bother them, but
right.
I think we're going to see a lot more people coming back in the market first, their primary house
So do
buyers.
you anticipate a really competitive market once those rates come back down, or do you think those cash buyers are still going to have the hold on the area?
I think it'll be more so as rates come down. I mean, if we see them come below, let's say six,
Yeah,
I think we're going to have a pretty competitive market again. I
yeah,
think prices are going to go back up. So,
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
there's going to be a lot more competition.
right, and
Well,
that's just naturally going to drive the prices up. So
Mhm.
and Danny
So
and I mean,
buy now.
right.
well,
Ah,
so
God. At least we're
so
all in
that's what I was
agreement.
gonna say.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. I think the first video that Danny and I put out together was like get in the game, and this was
Mhm.
I don't know 10 months ago, where it was like when rates come down, it's going to be crazy, and you're already seeing it. I mean, rates went from 8 to 7, and there was an uptick in mortgage applications. Rates went from, the average rate went from about 7 to high sixes, and another uptick. So yeah, like you said, just imagine if and when they get below 6 into the fives,
Yeah,
and all of the, you know, economists, talking heads, whatever you want to call them, for whatever reason, they speculate that five something is the
yeah.
magic number for people.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think and I hope that we'll be able to see what that five number does to the market here in the next 6 months. I really believe that we'll start seeing rates in the fives in the next 6 months. I think so,
Yeah,
but we'll see. Nobody
We'll
knows
see.
really, but we'll see.
I love that. Man,
Mhm.
Ab, that's good stuff. And then once it happens, or if it happens, you can throw out a nice "I told you so" Instagram post, right? I
Mm-hmm.
said it 6 months
And
ago. And if it doesn't
that's really the
happen,
only
everybody's none the wiser, right?
the potential "I told you so" is really the only motivation for any of the social media stuff.
Absolutely. That's why you just need to throw out crazier and crazier takes, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
All right,
good
cool.
deal.
We'll wrap up. Danny, thank you so much for joining us.
of course. Thank you for having me.
Such
I've
a
been
pleasure,
Al.
Danny. Nice to meet
I
you.
wrote
Nice to meet you too.
I wrote a skit where Danny hits me with a golf cart and she refuses to do it.
I don't refuse. We're gonna do it. It's just
All
we
right,
haven't
here's the blonde
been
way.
in Palm
Danny,
City.
I got you. I got you.
Well, I think Al wants to come down and hit you with the golf cart. I'm just saying.
Honestly, I'd pay him to let me do it. That's how good of a friend I am. I'm so willing to help him out with his skits, especially that one.
Oh my goodness, too funny.
All
Such
right,
a
guys.
pleasure,
All
We'll cut
Yeah.
you loose, Danny. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great
Thank you.
weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All
See you,
right,
Danny.
see ya.